And we are live. Welcome to another episode of Not a Masterclass. I'm not a master. And on today's episode, we're talking about willpower. Now, we've been gone for a while. Okay, we're in a new setup today. I'm not too happy about this setup. I don't like this lighting. I don't like how my mic is like on the side. So I hope the audio is crystal clear coming from, the side of my cheek over here. And this has been a crazy few weeks back from the last episode, what I showed you from my last apartment. Now we're in a new place, new beginnings. Over the past 2 weeks, we've been learning a lot about NLP. Okay, I don't know if you know what NLP is, neuro-linguistic programming. And a lot of you have probably gotten hints and little tidbits from here and there, and you've heard some of these concepts before. But I'm talking about real, deep level NLP. I've been digging a lot deeper into this topic and how to actually execute on some of these things to reprogram your mind, right? And today I want to go over about just a brief overview of NLP and how you can start applying some of these things to your life, and how a lot of this isn't what it's set out to be. And it's like I'm trying to get rid of a lot of these misconceptions that some people have when they hear NLP or hypnosis or any of these things, and they think that the first thing that probably comes to your mind, I get the same reactions when I talk about sales as well. The first thing that comes to people's mind is when you say, learn this to win friends and influence people, right? The first thing they stick on is influence. That's controlling, that's manipulative, or let's say power, right? Power is another ooh, you want power? That's that's not something to aspire to, because for whatever reason, influence and power have this negative narrative that there's manipulation and that influence is a bad thing. But you just got to remember, these are just words. These are just tools. How you use them is up to you. And one of the biggest misconceptions about NLP, it has very little to do with the other person and very much to do with yourself, okay? NLP is more about reprogramming your mind and the language you use on yourself and how you talk to yourself, and how by fixing that, you can project a better, energy outwards to other people. So, for example, let's say you want to have a positive influence on someone. There's not much you can say or do that's going to get them to do what you want if you haven't fixed your own internal issues. The only time when you can have a positive influence on someone is when that person has absolute certainty in what you're proposing to them. So the only way for someone to have absolute certainty in you is if you have absolute certainty in yourself. So if you think that learning how to influence or have self-power is manipulating people, but first of all, it starts by manipulating yourself. Okay, you really gotta reprogram how you speak to yourself so that you have more certainty about your goals, your beliefs, who you are, and then from there you can share, or people will only follow you if they're certain about you. So if you're uncertain about yourself, why would anyone else believe you? Okay, so that's the first thing we got to get out there. Second of all, like I said, influence and power, they're just totally this whole fact that you're manipulating people is so warped. All power is the degree of freedom that you have over your life. Okay, that's all power is. Okay, this whole other symptoms of power that you see, these toxic versions, or the first impression of what you think power is, these are symptoms of power. Power is simply the degree of freedom that you have over your life, of your personal life, of your own decisions. That's what power means, okay? And second, influence is just getting, acting in a way that gets people want to follow your lead, okay? That's all influence is. And the only reason you view these as negative, I'm sorry to tell you, is that you've been losing your entire life. You probably think that the only way to actually get stuff you want is by either hurting other people or manipulating other people, which means you've never been in a win-win situation before, where you're getting the results that you want, where you're having the freedom that you want without having to be a bad person. Like, you can be win-win and everyone's happy and you still get to have a positive influence and power over your own life. Okay, so if you still think these things are bad, I'm just saying that you might want to relook at your life and maybe see that maybe your life experience is you always being at the effect of things and never really having a say in what happened in your life. Then you might start to see these things as negative because it's been someone influencing you or someone has power over you, and you're like, oh well, the only way to have influence and power is by stepping on other people. But I'm here to tell you that that's not the case, okay? You can be win-win, you can have an awesome life, you can be kind to people, and still have a positive influence and immense power of your own life. Now, how? The topic is called willpower. How does this relate to NLP? Now, willpower is basically this neurological muscle in your brain that you can strengthen, you can train, you can make more malleable, and that you have actual access to. So if sometimes you feel like you have weak willpower and you can't get the things that you want to do, it's because you just haven't worked that part of your brain or built that connection where you can have that streamlined willpower on command, right? It's actual muscle that you can access and that you can strengthen and exercise. And just like any muscle, at some point it becomes easy to do the thing that you're trying to do. So how do you access your willpower? Now we're going to go a little deeper here, okay? I got my whiteboard. Probably pull it out in a second, but let me just see where I can go with this. So what I've been learning for the past few weeks is, first of all, that again, willpower is a muscle, and then second of all, how you access this muscle is one of the ways is how you talk to yourself. Okay, this negative self-talk, you're always, just bombarding your brain constantly. And a second is the actions you take on a day-to-day, and whether they're pushing you towards your actual goals or whether they're taking you into the wrong direction. Now, if you're trying to achieve something, there's no way you're going to get what you want if you're using the wrong emotional map. Because now your beliefs make up your emotions, and then your emotions are what give you the energy, the activation in your mind, RAS, reticular activation system. Now, if you really want to get into this, go check out Owen Cook on YouTube. Okay, this is where I get all my information from. He's way better explaining this for me, but I'm just relaying this to you guys. Now, willpower. Okay, so you want to achieve a certain goal. You're lacking that motivation. Okay, which means you're most likely lacking that belief that you can do it, because it's easy to get to work when you're inspired, when you're motivated, when you know what you want to do, when you have clarity, when you have certainty, right? Willpower is easy when you're certain of yourself and where you're going, and that helps, and that your brain will give you the right emotions to give you the right energy to move towards your goals a lot faster. Half the times that we can't achieve our goals is because we're using the wrong emotions to get there. And we're like, why aren't we in control of our emotions? Why is it just like, this thing that I just don't have control over? Well, that's because you haven't tapped into that willpower part of your brain, right? We don't know how to access it. We don't know how to have a more mindful control of our emotions. Like, we think we're just at the whim of our emotions. But actually, I haven't learned this. I haven't learned how to do this successfully, but I've been, following the steps. And you can like almost hack your brain to. It sounds gimmicky, but at some point, you need to do the gimmicky thing so that you can get a palette for an awareness for what these concepts are, and then you can kind of get rid of the gimmicky stuff, and then just instead of doing stuff, you're just being those things, right? So. Let me just retrace here. What was I talking about? Okay. So some of the three things that destroy your certainty, right, and which relate to your willpower, is self-judgment fatigue, persona fatigue, and what was the last one? Decision-making fatigue. So these three things, they burn out your mental energy, and okay, look. Here's decision-making fatigue, right? When you can't make a decision, you're lacking a certain amount of clarity in what you want. and that burns mental capital. When you are constantly judging yourself like negatively, like, oh, how are people responding to me right now? What do I look like? Am I offering value? Am I doing the right thing? The more you question yourself, the less certain you become. The more you question anything, the less certain you become. So these things, they're burning your mental energy, and then you're wondering why you're always so tired. Okay. The third one, persona fatigue, is like the attachment you have to your identity, right? It's like, if I'm not this guy, so let's say in 2020, a lot of people lost their jobs, and a lot of them have been working those jobs for like decades, and now suddenly it's gone. Suddenly everyone's home. Suddenly everyone has to rely on internet connection, and suddenly people are starting to question, well, I thought I was the accountant guy, but now I just lost my job, and I thought I was the pilot, and now I'm out of job for a year. Like that the whole persona fatigue is maybe that was a terrible example, but I think you get what I'm saying. Is that the attachment you have about who you think you are, and trying to always reaffirm that, will fatigue you. And why these things are related is because all these things will chip away at your certainty. Okay, if you're uncertain about yourself, your belief is lower, and your willpower will decrease, because now your brain is against you, because your brain doesn't believe that you can do it. It's not going to give you the right emotions, the emotional map to get this stuff done. So it's almost like your DNA is going to shut you down to make sure you don't fail, because it doesn't. It's like telling someone there's a mountain of gold out there. Okay, for you to find that gold, first of all, you need to believe there's a gold. You need to believe that the gold is there. Number two, you need to believe that you can find it. And number three, you need to know that it's worth it. Right? You need to know that this gold is worth climbing that mountain for. So if you don't have these things, if you're not that certain about where you're going in your life, and your brain is not going to give you the necessary emotions which activate your RAS, and your RAS is your selective focus, that literally is like the glitch in the matrix, if you will. Your RAS is what you selectively focus on. Like, let's say there's an amazing parade outside, but then you're looking at it through a window, and there's a micro little speck. If you're someone who's, let's say, usually negative, or you could be a positive person and still fall into these traps. But like, my point is, your RAS, if it's not focused with the right emotions, it will look at the speck on the window and totally ignore the awesome parade outside. It'll hyper focus on the tiny little, and it'll just shut off all the other things. So you're trying to achieve massive things, and think about this: your brain is choosing what you focus on and what you can see. Like, the amount of opportunities that exist in your life are dependent on whether you can see them, and that insight is dependent on whether your RAS is looking, because your RAS is constantly activated and it's constantly looking for what it deems valuable to yourself. So if you're out looking for a specific book or a specific learning concept, you're going to start looking for signs around that as you go about your life, and you're going to start seeing all these. That's why when you hear a new word and then suddenly you start seeing that word everywhere, it's not that it didn't exist. It's because now it's in your selective focus, right? It's pretty crazy. It's all, like I said, it's almost like a glitch in the matrix, where you're like, wow, what part of myself is even me if I can't even see through the haze unless my brain, my RAS, chooses to value that. So if your emotions are not in the right place, if you don't have the proper beliefs in the goals you're trying to go towards, then your brain is not going to give you the right emotions, and you won't even be able to achieve what you want, because you can't even see it. How? It's like you're walking with the wrong map around the city of New York using a map of Kuala Lumpur, and you're like, you know what? I don't care how hard it takes, 5 years, 10 years, I'm going to find a way to across New York. But you're using the wrong map. It's never going to work. Now, this doesn't mean that you're helpless, right? Like, I don't think that you should just sit down and think of, like, okay, how do I get my RAS in the right? Like, I mean, I believe in just taking massive amounts of action and along the way you're just gonna get hit and hit and hit. And if you again, honestly, for me, it's always been about the belief. Like, I never knew I was doing this, but I was so like, what's that word? Like, just what do you say? Something delusional. Yeah, I was so delusionally confident about my goals that even though there's tons of evidence saying no, I'm so delusional about it that I actually my RAS is still scanning for every possible reason where this could work. It rationalizes how this could work. Doesn't mean it's the best strategy. Okay, I've spent lots of time on the wrong things, but what I did have right was I was fully certain about the things that I was doing. Okay, so how do you build that belief system? How do you get yourself to a place where you know this is something you want, but you know that your body's fighting, your mind's not just, it's almost like your mind won't give you the map. It's like, hey, I want to fly this plane. Your brain's like, no, not flying this plane. It's too dangerous, right? So you need to learn, first of all, there's like so many variables, right? And I can't even recall them. That's why you got to check out Owen Cook. Go check out his Miami videos. They're amazing. Okay, it's exactly what I'm talking about, but you're hearing from a professional. So one of them is physiology, right? You got to get into your body. You have to remember that, first of all, your RES, your selective focus, is being manipulated on like day to day. Whether intentionally or not, I don't know. But I learned this in communication and marketing. You're constantly being bombarded by media, by messages, by narratives, and people are trying to sell to you, people are trying to get you to, like, everyone is trying to get you into their own system, and you don't even know what beliefs are your own. So this is coming like from an external, you're just being bombarded, like boop, doop, 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 doop. So you need to get, first of all, in a place where you're not in your head, because right now you're stuck in your head with all these, you're trying to rationalize all this world around you. You got to get from your head into your soul, into your body. So that's number one, physiology, right? You got to get into your physiology, and you need to get in touch with that spirit. So how do you do that? One, obviously, is exercise. Two is, you can get involved with like spiritual practices. You can start meditating. You start doing breathing exercises. Now, this is not for like enlightenment or whatever. This is simply to get in touch with that part of you that's actually you, okay? And the part of you that projects and is not just like at the effect of things, but is actually at the cause. Just like right now, I'm to you, right? I'm inward, outward versus outward, inward. Where you're just like, at least you can find that vibration. Do this with me. If you're at home, just do it. Feel the difference in being at the cause and not the effect. So being at the effect is if someone is doing to you, hey. See, it feels uncomfortable, right? You feel that social pressure. Hey! Versus you doing it. You try and do that. Do that to me. Do hey! It's different because it's coming inward, outward. You're actually, if you wanna do a simpler experiment, just do this Feel that. Again, these are gimmicky things, but if you need to build a palette to that awareness of what this energy is, right? Second thing, doing stuff like Wim Hof breathing or cold showers or anything that involves a lot of fear. What you're doing there is you're tapping into, I think, the reptilian part of your brain, or the stem of your brain, and that's where your willpower is. The neurological muscle is there. So what does, let's say, cold showers or jumping off cliffs or these things that require that have a huge intense buildup of, like, let's say walking up on stage and then having to like right? The more you can do activities like that, the stronger connection you build with your willpower, and that you get more in touch with your body, and then now you're actually operating from a place where you do know what are your core beliefs, your core motivations, what you actually want, right? You're now operating from an internal framework. So if you, for example, want to learn how to talk and talk, or how to do improv, or all these things, it's building, again, that connection with that part of your brain that doesn't need to think. Okay, again, what did we say? The more you question something, the less certain you become. And you need to build that connection with your mind, because there is a part of you, just like I'm talking to you right now, it's been 20 minutes, that can do this effortlessly on its own. I cannot think of this and write this. It would take me like an hour if I had to write this script that I'm talking to you right now. So physiology, number one, build that connection. What else? Number two is you need to go into an upward spiral and find ways to build certainty within yourself by doing small micro tasks. So here's an example. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to put down the phone. I said something that I was going to do, and I did it, right? Doesn't matter how small, but now I'm building certainty within myself. I'm building certainty that whatever I say I'm going to do, whatever I'm motivated to do, I do it, okay? So start small. Build those up. That's number two, how to build certainty and belief in yourself. And number three, again, those three questions I asked you. Is there gold? Can I find the gold? Is it worth finding the gold? Because if you don't believe that it's worth finding the gold, you're never gonna find it. And that gold right now is you, right? You have to find the gold in yourself. You have to first believe you're worth it. You gotta believe that you can get it, that you can get self-mastery. And what's the third one I said? Yeah, you just gotta know that it's worth it. So these things are key, man. If you nail this down, you'll be so successful. Okay, I haven't nailed this down, but honestly, I've been working on it for a while, and it's been doing tremendous things, tremendous value, tremendous results for my life. Way better than 4 months ago. Okay, because now at least I have a deeper understanding of what's running me. So when I'm here, okay, here's another example. I'm going off topic here, but this is all the background of where willpower comes from. So if you're wondering, like, oh shit, why don't I have willpower? Well, this is exactly why. Like, there's so much you don't know what's running you. You're not even operating from your intelligence. Like, you're stuck in your. Most people can't even feel what's happening in their body because they're too trapped in their head. They're so stuck in their head, they can't even feel what's going on in their body. You ask them to meditate or to just scan their body, and they're just like, oh, this is not working for me. They're so stuck in their head. So you need to find ways to get out of your head. Whatever gets you into a flow state, whatever can shut off the thinking mind, and you, like, think about it. What stops you from jumping in a culture? Oh no, it's gonna be cold, it's gonna be uncomfortable. It's your mind. It's your mind. You're just trapped. You gotta get out. Okay? Damn. Lost my train of thought. Okay, so we talked about okay, wait, just give me a moment of silence here. Let's just take an appreciation for whoever's viewing right now. Thank you, Mr. Viewer. And, okay. Take a deep breath. If you ever wondered what's that part of you that I'm talking about right now that can that shuts off the mind, do this. Just take a deep breath. Exhale. And then with each breath, inhale longer, exhale longer. So each breath is getting deeper and deeper. And if your eyes are closed, close your eyes. Imagine the ceiling just falls in your head right now and you die. Okay? What are you actually thinking about? Keep breathing and keep imagining the ceiling falls on your head. You pass away. Your roommate or your housemate or whoever comes and finds you, calls your parents, all these things. You're dead. What part of you still exists? How much of the things you are looping on today disappeared? Right? You want to get closer in touch with your spirit? Do that death meditation exercise. Okay, and I can't remember. Oh, wait, it's coming to me. Yes. Okay. So small decisions, right? Build up that confidence. Another thing is to ask yourself, how much of what I'm doing today taking me to where I want to go? And also, what are the things that I'm doing that are not taking me to where I want to go? So every time you do something that isn't congruent to the goals you're actually trying to achieve, you're chipping away at your self-belief. You're reaffirming to yourself those three things, the persona fatigue, self-judgment fatigue, decision-making fatigue. You're telling yourself that you can't do it because you're like, I will pick up the phone, but you don't pick it up. Okay? So now your internal language to yourself is that you don't do the things you say you're going to do. And you're actually hurting yourself. You're chipping away at your confidence. And the more and more resistance you build towards those things, the more you realize the amount of stuff you procrastinate and push on the side, because you're just destroying your belief in yourself. And ultimately, no one's going to follow your influence. No one's going to want to listen to what you're saying. No one's going to believe in you. Okay? So if you're not doing these things for yourself, you're also hurting your bonds with other people. And look, influence is a great thing. Okay, you want to be a positive influence around people around you. Why wouldn't you want that? People want to be like the people. No, sorry. People want to be around the people that they want to become. So whatever ideal version you have of yourself in your head, you're most likely going to want to hang out with people who already have that. You're naturally attracted to people who have what it is you're looking for. Okay? So why wouldn't you want to have a positive influence on people? Right? Why wouldn't you? Look, if you develop the things that you actually, if you become the ideal version you want, who are you going to attract to your life? Who's going to really be glued to you? People who are trying to get what you have. Right? So you're almost building your own tribe by just fixing yourself. If you want to change the world, you want to fix the world, fix yourself. Right? You're part of this giant web. And meanwhile, I gotta, the world is so messed up, I gotta fix. No, if you just fix yourself, you're already fixing the world. Because what I just say, people are attracted to the people that have the things that they look up to. So by doing yourself that service, you're already creating that map for other people to follow and to create that positive influence. So this is about reclaiming control over your own self, reclaiming power over your own mind and spirit and your emotions, and instead of being hijacked by so many external forces of other people trying to influence you, instead you need to come from inside out instead of outside in. Okay? Especially in today's time. Especially in today's time when there's so much pressure, so much social pressure to follow the narrative and the status quo. And anyone who speaks the truth against that is like, hey! There's never been a more important time to get in touch with your internal soul and to start pouring energy outwards instead of just being at the effect of things. I really hope you can find that in yourself. Be at the cause, not the effect. I'll see you soon. It was very fun coming back to you guys again. And that is the end of today's live stream. I wish I could talk more, but I'm honestly running out of concepts. But what I love how I've been able to at least sum things up in an interesting way, at least for 30 minutes of what I've been learning for 2 weeks. There's so much more. This is how much I can retain. So this archive was good. I'm going to check you tomorrow. Thank you. Have a great, fantastic day.